The dynamics of Smackdown have changed drastically. Roman Reigns has finally vanquished that dastardly Daniel Bryan from Smackdown Live. What a show. What a night. What a smack attack ahead. Money James McIver alongside my partner in crime, as always, John Enright. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever the fuck it is. How you doing?
I'm good, my friend. Yes. Hey, look, I have video this week.
I know you're freaking me out for a second. I was like, no, I'm sure we just spoke, and it was like clear. You're just like, how did you do that? Like, just keep still completely for the whole thing. That's insane. That's there.
I have that ability. But yeah, no, it's a good week. I'm getting ready for prom. For those who don't know what prom is, in case you're from some backwards country that's across the pond, James McIver. It's a end of the year high school dance, and so my girlfriend is taking me to prom. Obviously, my girlfriend's not a high schooler; she's a teacher for high school, and so we're going to chaperone prom tonight. So I do have an appointment to go get my beard kind of taken care of. She doesn't know that's coming, so I'm kind of gonna make it look really nice and presentable for her, and then spend 7 to 11 p.m. at a prom full of high schoolers. So
nice.
That's my evening.
By the way, we do proms, but we do them at the end of the year. We do like end of year prom for like when you're
that's kind of what it is. So just different schools will stagger them because the whole idea is, well, obviously limited venues, but two, you might have kids from other schools come because they're dating someone else or whatever.
Yeah.
So limited venues and stagger. So yeah, it's usually starting May ish now to the end of the year.
Yeah.
So like my girlfriend's oldest son, his prom is on Memorial Day weekend, which is the last Monday in or last weekend in May.
Yeah.
Here, where so it's kind of like where we honor veterans and people who have gave their lives for service in the United States for the military.
Yeah.
They're doing it that weekend, which of course all the parents are like, that's a holiday weekend. Why are we doing so they have theirs on that Saturday. But usually from now until the end of the year, you'll see high schools doing that kind of stuff end it out.
For the people watching at home, bad news. John's camera on my OBS is fucked. So it decided it was like, we're just going to show a giant white blob. So I can't really see your face on this, unfortunately, my man. Unless I can get it back. I don't think I can.
Okay.
That's annoying. But we'll rock and roll as always. We're talking about.
It wasn't my fault this time. It's
never your fault. It's always this bloody software's fault. I could do it easy. I could do it the easy way. And I'm like, nah. Do it the hard way. Do it tough. Yeah. Rough and tough and work the hard way. Go and put the time in, put the hours, put the graft in. Nah, fucking look like an arse at the end of it. Great. Is it really a smack attack without any like technical hitches? I don't think it is. But how are you doing? If you're in the chat just now, say hello. We love chatting to you. We love hearing from you. We read out comments out throughout the show. So if you are in the chat, if you are watching us just now, say hello. Make yourself known. Get your opinions in as we talk about this week's SmackDown. A fun week. It was quite an enjoyable SmackDown. We were just kind of talking before we came on the air. Surprisingly, I wasn't really expecting. Well, I kind of expected a lot from the main event, but then the rest of the card just sort of. I was a bit meh on initially. I was like, oh, there's not really much going on. But it was a bit nice, fresh coat of paint on things because we've had this similar routine for months and months and months. Same thing happens at the beginning. Different person showed up and it made people look better for it, Bianca Belair was opening the show and they had a nice tag that leaned into a tag match. So it was like open segment straight into a match, which is something we've not seen for weeks. You usually see a Roman Reigns promo at the beginning and then you don't really hear anything about it or any follow up on it until later on the show. Maybe occasionally you'll get like a Jey Uso match here.
We talked about last week. They did do that last week. They had the opening segment which led right into the match. Same thing this week. In the opening segment, it wasn't super heavy on talking. It has been.
There's a little groove to it. It's like snap, straight in, no messing about.
Yeah. And I mean, in this opening match, I can't argue with it. Once again, you've got the Dirty Dogs and Bailey versus Bianca Belair and the Street Profits. And me, I'm always up for a Street Profit, show.
Yeah.
So to watch this opening match, to have Bianca on the mic, and then honestly, she did super good. With Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, going back and forth. I think that really showed her promo skills a lot.
Totally.
Better.
She's like,
and because Ziggler is a veteran, and he really knows what he's doing on the mic.
Yeah.
And so to be able to be toe to toe with him, boy, that really made her look really, really good.
Yeah. It's doing so well to set up Bianca Belair as like a main event player for the company. You can tell they're putting the work in to make it a strong character, a lot of momentum going forward. They don't want to mess around with this, and I think that's exactly what you have to do. With something like WrestleMania, we had such a big main event on the first night, and then you got to push forward with that. You can't sit down. It's like the Becky Lynch thing, and I'm not saying at the moment she's at that superstardom level, Becky Lynch, but it's exactly what they've done with her. Strike while the iron's hot, get the momentum going, get some big promo moments, because it's not all just about the story. It's about those key things that show to the fans and the audience what the main event is. And it's like the opening segment, closing the show, having big storylines. So, opening the show is such a simple thing to think about, but it really puts home the message that this is someone important. This is someone you've got to really follow throughout. She's a big deal and will continue to do so. So it was a good kind of nice little message. She did do a good promo as well for that there. Just kind of setting things up for the night. And it was a good match. Well, I say it was a good match. It was the only match I was a bit like good, but I was a bit kind of, there was some kind of sloppy moments in the match for me. It was especially like, there was like a bit where they did a spot where I think it was Montez Ford threw Ziggler out, but then Belair came out and Bayley came along, and then there was this sort of like and fell out, and then Montez acted as if it happened in a split second, and I was like, I got the idea, I know what you were doing, but at the same time,
it missed just a little bit. But at the end of the day, I think I enjoyed the match. I really enjoyed when Belair gets Ziggler up, and I mean, you're just thinking,
I wanted it. I was so up for it. I was like, come on!
And they teased it so out throughout the match, and then she actually gets him up, and you're just like, oh my god, yes, please!
How much strength does she have that she's doing that? So whoop, and
she's strong,
and she didn't even just like, it wasn't just a case of like lift him up. She actually like took her time, just going, whoa. That takes some doing. That you got to kind of control your body.
Skill.
Yeah.
I mean, that's she's just proving how much of an athlete she is every night on that thing. Her and Montez and Dawkins are just showing how much of an athlete they are. Yeah. And boy, the end of this match, poor Robert Roode, man, taking that whip, guy in the back, her hair whip, and then
getting the splash after it.
Poor Robert Roode, man, he just.
I hope he got a bonus for that. It was just like,
I hope so too.
Robert Roode.
Because she hit him and whack, man. I mean, that was just, there was no faking that. There was, see him in the face just going like, arch his back and be like,
do you ever think when Robert Roode done TNA and he was like the TNA World Champ and he had these like brutal matches with James Storm? Did you ever think at any point in that it was like the most painful thing is yet to come, and it's going to be a woman's hair just getting bam slapped right off his back?
Right, whiplash right off my back. Yeah, no, I don't think so. But
savage,
still
savage.
It was savage. It was good though. I mean, but that's the whole point. Once again, that's that little tease of her being involved with guys because she's so next level that she can hang. And that's why I think I really liked it. So, I really enjoyed that aspect of it, of that match, because this is a woman who could keep up with the guys.
Yeah.
And she showed it tonight. Really, she did. And it was a good match. I mean, of course, then she smacked the crap out of Bayley in the beginning when Bayley was trying to do that promo and laughing, and she just knocked the crap out of her. And that's how the match started. Everything just gets going from there.
Tell you what,
good way to start the show.
Yeah, tell you what, for a match that's just been quickly thrown together for the Backlash, I'm well up for Bianca Belair and Bayley. Well up for that, because they had a decent match at the Rumble, and then this one, woo boy. Mm-hmm. You know that Bianca's winning that, but at the same time, you think these are the kind of matches that she needs. These big names. It's going to start running dry a bit if this feud doesn't carry on for a while, because you've got Sasha Banks, Carmella, and Bayley, and then once you get past those, unless you've got like a big name moving over from Raw, like Asuka could make
which Carmella's hurt. I don't know if you saw that in the news.
Yeah, she said that, wasn't she? It was,
her back.
Was that she said she done it in the Rumble? Like she done a dive and then just wrecked her back. So that explains a lot.
Yeah.
Because for the longest time, we were wondering where she was and what was going on. So that might explain the Reginald stuff too. It's just like, I'm back knackered. I'm just going to have to donate Reginald. We'll get to him. Don't worry. But yeah, I'll be excited to see when she gets healthy, because I can't remember if it was yourself or when Joe was still on the show we talked about it, and I was actually quite impressed with what Carmella could do. It was just the character wasn't really refined enough for me that it worked. Mm-hmm. So the ring stuff was really good. I thought it was fantastic. It was just the little delineation of how she was acting and how she was presented were two different things. I wasn't too keen on it.
And this is where these losses of Billie Kay and Peyton Royce and Mickie James really hurts. Mickie
James is a big one as well. We talk about it every week since it's happened, but can you imagine Bianca Belair having a big match with Mickie James right now?
Oh, that'd be amazing. I mean,
passing the torch.
Those three. But you had Carmella set up with Billie Kay, and
just to throw it away,
and then the next day, gone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something right there. You could have had, and Billie Kay could have been used as a tag team partner or as an outside interference manager. Either way, and it would have worked for that Carmella character, and it was really going to be something. I think it was going to be something pretty good to help that Carmella character kind of proceed more.
Yeah.
But they cut her. And I mean, I'm just like, really, of all the divisions right now, you don't need to be cutting the women's division. Yeah. And I think this just hurts them in the long run more.
I mean, depth in the main roster is so poor right now. It's not even funny. Yeah. Like most of the women talent is in NXT. It's such a deep roster they've got in NXT. I mean, I know Mick Foley came out the other day, and it came from this whole debate where like Mickie James said we should do an all women's Raw women's brand, and then but then someone said women don't make money, and I think it's a tricky one. You can't really just be so like brush off with it, like the women don't make money. It's like, well, the reason they don't make money is because you don't fucking put them on TV enough. You know what I mean? It's like if there's people.
Well, let's look at like say Japan. They have all women's, Stardom and other programs, and
it works.
And it works, but they're not making nearly the money New Japan is, but they have their own TV, they have their own schedules and running and everything. And if you're going to compare apples to oranges here, that's an all women's brand running in Japan. They got bought out by Bushiroad, who's keeping them afloat, who owns New Japan. I mean, that's kind of the thing is, you have Shimmer and Shine and, Wild came back for a little while, but where'd it go? You're not seeing them on TV anymore. That they used to have where Santana Garrett was on and some of these where it was an all women's promotion.
Yeah.
But it didn't even last a year on, wherever New Japan was at the time with Access.
Yeah.
Because they were doing that New Japan and then going into Glow or WoW or whatever they were calling it. And that didn't even last a year. New Japan lasted longer. So we have these things there that have been done and set up. And it's just a matter of really, we have stars who are made because of WWE.
Yeah.
And there are some independent stars. But the question is, in all actuality, without a major corporation, without a major backer, could they, in all actuality, really, for 100% be honest, run an all-women's promotion that would be successful and make money?
Well,
it's not the talent.
Yeah.
It's we see that with women's sports, professional sports.
Yeah.
I mean, once again.
I mean, they've got Invicta MMA. That's under the UFC banner.
But it's under the UFC banner. Once again, you have women. Let's just take soccer. Let's take American soccer, for example, right?
Ooh.
The U.S. women's soccer team wanted to hold out because they wanted their fair share of what the men's did. But the men's soccer team brings in triple the amount of money that the women's do. And it's, and in America, we watch soccer in Olympic times, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And so
but I think
when stuff like that happens,
because I thought
you got to really.
Yeah, because I always thought the issue with that was like I thought a lot of people were debating about the club thing, but it wasn't so much about the club. It's the Football Association of the Nations that were in charge. I think that's where it comes from because you represent your country. But I totally get what you mean though. It's like the business side of things for that. I was kind of in agreement for like equal pay on international football at least, because that's representing your country. It's a big deal. It's not really a commodity such as club football. Club football, you pay your players based off their transfer wages, agents' fees, things like that. So it's a little bit different. Right. But I think for international, but for international duty, it's like you're selected for that. It's like it's not because of like so much money is coming in because of this player. You're brought up on merit and how you play and things like that. And what do you bring to the team? So it's more of a sort of it's like a reward, like for performing well and representing your country is always a big deal for players. So like I know it's not the same wheelhouse of opportunity and money coming in, but it's like I don't know how to word this right, to be perfectly honest with you, but when you make so much money from international football, if everyone gets the same wage, it kind of makes sure that it's a level playing field. Trying to think of a good example, like England right now, they have got some fantastic players that are coming up from the under-21 schemes and academy players that are coming in. So say like a Phil Foden who's been playing for Manchester City, he's been on absolute tear for Man City. He's only like 2021. He's not going to get in club football. He's not getting paid nearly the same as like Harry Kane, who's top striker at Tottenham Hotspur, and he's a captain of England. But when they're on the international scene, they're getting paid the same because it's just because of your representation for the country. It's not like, or it's my understanding of that.
You still have to remember money comes in for those organizations from where? From advertisers.
Yeah.
And so even if you're playing internationally and that's for, your country and it's an honor, I get that. But they still get money from the advertisements from those international plays and things along those lines. And when you look at those, I'm not saying that they should get paid amongst themselves equally. I'm saying if you want to say a woman, and I'm just once again using the soccer term, the example, because that's to me the easiest where people think that's the closest. To me, tennis is closer. I think women's tennis has progressed way faster than men's. I think they're catching up to being on the same level as men. Not quite, but there. But let's say in this instance, the biggest issue last time was, the women's international soccer team for the United States when they played in France and won the World Cup. They were like, oh, we need more money. And I'm like, okay, but let's look at what you made. I mean, they brought in something like so many millions of dollars, whereas the U.S. men's team brought in like $1 billion. So how can I give you more when in all actuality you are going to hurt your organization in the long run because you're taking more money? That means there's less money for you to go out and promote and train and get better equipment or even reach out to communities so that we can get people involved in the women's.
But then the other way around is like, as you say, it's a growing thing now. Women's football has become way more prominent over the past 10 years, even more so since the last World Cup and the international tournaments. It's a growing sport. So it is going to get to that point where they will likely start making similar amounts of money to the men's international, because it's growing interest as well. So where we are now, 5-10 years from now is going to be different because there's going to be girls that have grown up through school and watched the women's teams. It's getting a bit more prominent in the UK. It's getting more TV time. BT have started to kind of promote the Women's Super League over here, which is great. So that kind of message kind of promotes the grassroots area of football. And again, we talked about it last week, the Premier of football. So more grassroots players come up and then bigger teams and things like that. It's a similar pyramid for women's football. It's over time it will grow and it will get there. So I can't say I'm against it. I can't. I'm pretty much, because you pay anyone who plays 90 minutes for a game of football and for their international team, you deserve to get your piece of the pie, your fair piece of the pie of what it was.
Right. That's where I'm at. The fair piece of the pie based off of what you've brought in without hurting your organization in the long run. So if you take, let's say you take 60% of what you take in to give to your players. Yeah. Okay. That's great, but that means you only have 40% to promote reach out, build. Then they want to complain about, oh, we don't have the facilities. Well, that's because 60% of the money goes to you guys.
Yeah.
And so we have to balance all that out.
Yeah.
But then it becomes, okay, well, then we just pool all the money. So men and women's soccer, we take the $1 billion they do here with the $50 million that the women do. We put it all together in one pot, and then we go from there.
But then,
is that,
to be fair, though,
I don't know.
To be fair, they're never going to run out of money, though, are they? They're never, because like the MLS is like in America, for example, the MLS is growing leaps and bounds. I don't know what the women's football league scene is for that. The FA is never going to run out of money. They're always going to have more money coming in, and FIFA are corrupt as fuck. You just need a World Cup, and you'll never need money ever again. Ask Qatar. You know what I mean? Like we're playing a World Cup in 50-degree heat, 50 degrees Celsius heat at Christmas next year.
Yeah.
You tell me that's not fucking corruption. You're not a football fan if you don't believe that. Bastards. I can't wait for, although that means, I can't wait for an African nation. I'd actually be up for that. I was watching I remember the 2010 World Cup in Africa. I was in South Africa, and you saw like Ghana get to the semi-finals. I was like, come on. I was like well up for that. But we're digressing a little bit. But in terms of taking it back to wrestling a little bit, WWE are a company that have got 205 Live under their hospitals. They've got that on Peacock. I mean, there's nothing really to stop them from, maybe not a full national TV thing, but if you want something that's going to get people to subscribe to Peacock, something a bit more interesting, a women's brand's not bad. You wouldn't need like a full 2-hour show, 1 hour similar to 205 Live or early days NXT. And use that to showcase talent that haven't had enough time to perform. You can still have your big main event names. You can still have your Charlotte Flairs, Bayley's, Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, whatever. And you can still do that, but you can tie them in with this brand so, people get a little bit more exposure, a bit more time to perform. They'll be a bit more satisfied because they'll get more TV time. And you can bleed the two together, so you can have like SmackDown division matches, Raw division, you can do crossover matches. It could be like your testing grounds, like NXT. So you could say, for example, you had someone like, I don't know, pick a name from NXT. Who's the women's champion at NXT just now? What's her name? Raquel Gonzalez. So you're never going to run on this NXT, and you start this women's brand. You could put her on this women's brand and have her going like this absolute tear, taking out like Lana, Naomi, Carmella, people like that. And then it's like, okay, she's getting a bit of steam, and then it could catch the interest of Sasha Banks, and you're like, oh, okay. And then you can start seeing her jump over to SmackDown, and again, it's like, oh wow, we've been seeing her on the women's brand, she's been doing so well, what's she going to do on SmackDown? You're like, these little things can do wonders for talents. It's not just about getting exposure, it's just getting them time, it's giving them reps,
opportunity to work. And that would solve your women's tag team problem, because then they go to this brand, and this is where the tag teams are held. And anybody can come in and you work on that show, and boy, you have a built-in main event right there where the tag team titles are on the line, and boom, main event. There you go. You still keep your individual women's titles, SmackDown and Raw, but boy, I mean, there you go. You have a women's branded tag titles that don't matter on NXT, NXT UK, whatever. You have them on this show.
It's like your nice middle ground. It's like your nice booster like a prelim promotion, things like that. So it's a kind of way to make everyone happy. A lot of people were kind of upset at the idea for some reason, which I don't quite get. It's like these people just want reps and time. They don't want to be like, that's not too much to ask for. When you look at Raw, it's fucking honking right now. I mean, you could put something on there that's worth watching. Either give them a bit of time or whatnot. But you know what? An hour on Peacock, you could put it out on a Tuesday night, tie it in with, or a Thursday night, you could tie it in with someone's Impact viewing. You could watch the women's division, then then Impact. That's a cozy couple hours of wrestling you could watch for that. And it would do wonders for them for that. It's not just about like kind of making a stand. Like, let's just call it what it is. This Women's Revolution was just a promotional stunt now. It really came clear to see. It was like, look, we've got these 4 women from NXT. That's the ones. The rest, you just go over at the side for a bit there. That'll be fine. That's pretty much what they've done. And they've done it on the pretense of this Women's Revolution. Nothing really changed. They did get a little bit more time. You got better championships and fair play. They got main events. They got good matches. But then a lot of that's based on the merit of the talents of the people that they brought back, like the Charlotte Flairs, Sasha Banks, like those, they had that Hell in a Cell match, which was really good. You know, it's not just that they've got these matches, they've kind of wanted the time when they've had these matches. Like Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, how much were we talking before WrestleMania that we weren't kind of fully sold on this match because of the build, and then they have this really great match. So on the back of that, they have got to that point based off merit. So you know there's people capable of that, but let's just call it what it is. It's just a promotional tactic. Whereas like doing this, there's some substance to that. There's some actual meaning behind what you're doing. It shows that you're invested in the women's division and you want to build them up. And you could do the same thing for the tag teams. If you really wanted to do like a tag team show, you could do something like that, or like the odd tournament shows or whatever. It's just something different, something unique that, you know, you're wanting to make up your portfolio. Peacock, we're still in the age of the Thunderdome. It's not exactly hard on an afternoon, right? We're gonna shoot Raw at 8:00 live. Come in at 5. We'll start filming the women's show at 6. Take a break. Raw's on. That's like, you can schedule the day like that and push on. I mean, I think NXT do 205 Live, record it at the arena before NXT, if I'm right in saying as well, because it's all the same place. So they've got the ways and means to do it. So just commit to it and build it. I'd be interested. That's all I'm going to say. Like, I think if you can make some good names out of that, right ahead. But yeah. So anyway, I've went on a bit there, but okay. How are we doing out there in YouTube?
No. But I think it's part of the news of this week of, you know, Mick Foley saying that. I think Lance Storm responded about how it's a good idea, but, you know, and to Foley's tweet. So, you know, it was an interesting aspect, especially with what we see going on.
Yeah.
You know, cutting women, and you know this last week, and the cuts of women, and you know the how are we going to build up to Bianca Belair and getting along those things? I think that's the important thing that we see here, is that these things are
kind of addressed,
are glaring in the you know, need to be addressed in the WWE universe, because you know there's some glaring holes here, you know. And
I mean, the way we've suggested, it's a low risk effort as well. You know, it's not high risk. You're not shelling out billions to put it on national TV, and if it panned out, great. You know, NXT was on the network for the longest time, and then obviously AEW went over it, and then USA took them up and put them on. But like, you know, it's happened. There's history of this happening, so who's to say it couldn't happen? So it's all about commitment. If they commit to it, put the work in, and make it happen, then it'll be great. But then Mickie James, when she was talking about the attitude backstage, is not really willing to commit to it, which is a shame. It's a total shame, and it's a shambles when you think about it.
Yeah,
women do deserve better. Let's be honest. Like, that roster, you've got so many really good, talented performers, or performers that could give something to the show, and you're either not using them. Like, the Riot Squad's not getting used anymore. What? Like, there was a point over a year ago where Liv Morgan was being touted as like the next big thing, and then it just went crashing down, disappeared, gone.
Yeah.
Don't know why. And people say it's not because she's not talented enough in the ring. It doesn't matter, because we've seen people who have been rubbish on the men's side do really well. Great Khali. Come at me if you can think of a women's division main eventer that's worse than Great Khali that's done it. I don't think you can. So we've got no argument as a gender when we're getting the likes of him being a champion, and
a Hall of Famer now.
And a Hall of Famer now. Fair play him. He's happy. He was quite happy with that, so I can't fault him. I called him one of the banter entries, and then he did that. I was like, oh, he was nice, good guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should get back onto SmackDown, because we should have a lot of time there. Before we did the first of the predictions things, Daniel Bryan got asked by Caleb Braxton, asked if his career on the line was going to be affecting his performance or his preparation for tonight, and he's got that mindset. He's tapped out Roman Reigns before, and he'll do it again. He also said if he wins, he's giving Cesaro the first shot, which I quite liked. He's getting. I'm loving this. Even though he's on the way out, but he's making the effort to put Cesaro over here. I don't know if that's just because of the storyline, or if he's went to them and said, look, I want to kind of put my name on him. So it's like the seal of approval that he's given. So I was quite liking that. Then we got the first prediction of the night. Seth Rollins picked Daniel Bryan to beat Roman Reigns, which I'm surprised by. I was expecting them to pick Roman Reigns all day long because, Shield brethren and heel brethren at that. It was like, nah, Daniel Bryan wins. And then, but he also said if Daniel Bryan wins, Cesaro's not going to make it to the title shot because Rollins wants to take Cesaro out and have a match with him next week. It was supposed to be like a throwback edition of SmackDown or something. I don't know what that means. I know we're getting a backlash, so I hope it's nothing to do with that. But we were talking about this. It was quite nice that we're getting these sort of predictions from people. It made it feel a bit more kind of big dealy. Made it more important. And you didn't have to hear much promos from the other two guys tonight. It was just straight to business.
Right.
We'll continue on with those. Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax were complaining about their disrespect they've been receiving. Tamina and Natalya attack them. And then we have their match, which was happened. I feel like we've seen this 100 times. We've only seen it 4 times, I'm sure. Not much different from what we've seen last week, really. Not much different at all. I wasn't blown away by this match. Tamina still looked really good coming out of it. It just feels like Tamina's the one that's getting the rub out of this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but she just seems to be getting all the build and momentum. She's looking really good in the matches. Natalya's doing a lot of just kind of standing on the side. I'm not saying that's to make her look lazy, but it seems like they're doing more to showcase Tamina, which was 10 years too late. But I think it was like, where are we? So Tamina goes up to end the match. Tamina went up top. Reginald tried to distract her. But then something happened with Shayna Baszler. Oh no, it was Natalya came round. Shayna Baszler choked her out. And Tamina got the distraction win. A lot of distraction wins on WWE TV. I don't like it. And then, oh no, I tell a lie. No, she got the distraction. And then Baszler choked out Natalya, got up on the rope, took a couple of headbutts, and then Superfly Splash off the top rope. And that was a win. Tamina looked really good game.
Yeah, that's what but I mean, but the titles weren't on the line. So that means, once again, this is kind of one of those things of, all right, so great, y'all had a match.
Pin the champions, that means you get your shot.
That'll be trope. But they've had their shot and they lost at WrestleMania, so it's just kind of like, okay, great. So
do we have to?
Does that mean you jump the line again? Yeah. Okay, great. So because of course they were complaining in the promo beforehand, we're disrespected. We're tag team specialists. Why are we keep getting put in these singles matches? And Baszler and comes to Tamina and Natalya and beat them up, and and I mean, it's always interesting. Like the opening of this match was interesting because you have Nia Jax and Tamina going at it, and God, I gotta say it. I love Pat McAfee on.
He's been
commentary.
Banging. He's been absolutely quality.
Yeah, and I mean, just some of the things he says of like, the Colossus versus whatever, and just the different things he says to really build it up. Because Michael Cole's got to be more the straight play-by-play guy, and the reason why I think I like McAfee a little bit more than I do Graves is because he's not coming from a wrestler perspective. He's coming from a fan perspective, and so he's not using insider terms or things along those lines. He's just being enthusiastic and calling it like it is, and I can relate to that a little bit more.
Yeah, because I did say when he got the job, he was getting the freedom to just kind of say things. That was one of his worries. So it's like he didn't want to say something he wasn't supposed to, but apparently they're kind of letting them loose a little bit, which is good because he can relax a bit. And that's why people watch his podcast and stuff like that. And when they showed him the pre-show, it's just how he just spoke his mind. No filter. Just, here it is. This is what I'm saying. This is what's on my mind just now. Brilliant. Great stuff from it. And he really adds to everything that happens on SmackDown, which is good.
Yeah. Because let's be honest, this match was okay at best. Yeah. But I really felt like he did a great job hyping this and making it feel bigger than it did, than it needed to be. Because it wasn't as big as he thought so.
No.
As anybody could go, nah, we're good. But he made it feel bigger than it should have been.
Yeah.
So
he was a real deal.
So
that's what you want from your SmackDown. You want it to feel big. You want it to matter. So I was happy with that. Yeah. Same about the match. It was so, but hey ho, you get what you get. But that's okay. SmackDown made up for it in spades. It's okay. It made up for it in spades. I promise you that. If you're watching it, watch SmackDown. Watch the whole thing. Don't just watch don't watch the preview bits. Just watch the whole thing. It's lovely. We did some more promotional stuff. We more predictions. Shinsuke Nakamura. It says Daniel Bryan's got too much on the line to lose, which is true. But if Daniel Bryan does lose, Reigns has escaped once more. But Nakamura will be waiting for him, which I like. We're getting the queue going again, which I'm liking. So there's Cesaro, Nakamura. Okay. We can keep this going. Roman Reigns can get that going. Dominic Mysterio talks about teaming with his dad. And again, they talk about winning the tag titles. It's not going to happen, lads. You've been talking about it for months, and it ain't happening now. Just give it up. Give up the dream.
Yeah.
And then this was really nice. I'm liking these promos by Aleister Black. This is the second one we've had. He talked about his high school years this time. And
he talked about prom.
Yeah, fitting that,
I was like, he said that, I perked up. I was like, hey.
I bet you'll be looking at that totally differently now after watching SmackDown.
Yeah.
It's built on lies. Whoa.
Yeah.
But it's like, it wasn't much of a story, but I like this point where it was like, I could tell you all these things to make you feel better. I could say these things to get escape and release, but I'm not. And it was like almost like sad when he says like, but I'm not. I don't want to. And he's got this sinister look about him, which is great. Like the glasses look on him and how his hair's been slicked back like that. And the shirt obviously had some of that before he left, but it seems a bit more kind of refined. It's a bit like that villain from Far Cry 5, like the cult leader when where the nuclear bomb goes off at the end of the game and all that. It gives me that sort of vibe, which is lovely, and I think that's a little bit of depth that he needs. I don't know where he fits in with SmackDown just now. That's my only worry. You've got a heel champion in Roman Reigns, so you can't really put him in a feud there. Daniel Bryan's on the out, so we can't use him. The Intercontinental title picture's filled up now because you've got Big E, Paul Cruz, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn have been added to the mix now. Cesaro and Seth Rollins are probably going to be mixing for the world title. Everyone seems in like a nice position. Everyone's nice. It's all in a nice, neat little package just now. So I'm struggling to see where Aleister Black fits in, which is tricky because I think he will do something quite good if they spend the time with him. But
and that's going to be the hard part. But I mean, once again, we've got to build him back up. We tore him down, and he's had more off time than Dabo Keita did to become Commander Aziz. Yeah. So, because Dabo Keita was fresh in our minds, and all of a sudden he's Commander Aziz. It's like, no, that's not the case. So we got to build him up. How do we do that? I mean, to me, I know the Intercontinental area is a mess right now between Apollo Crews, Dabo Keita, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, but Big E. But I think that's the best route for him.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, they've marginalized him to where I don't think he'll ever be a main eventer unless they just do something incredibly creative with him. But I just don't feel like they know what to do with him. They don't. Vince doesn't know how his style works, and so he's just kind of in limbo. And he's going to be that mid card guy forever. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just once again, then how do we best use him?
Do you think?
From this point forward?
Do you think he would get tarred with the same brush as Bray Wyatt? Like a performer that's got great creativity and charisma, but they just don't know what to do with him properly.
I think so. I think that's probably one of the big issues is they just don't know what to do with him. And because let's be honest, the Undertaker is the only mystical kind of real character they got over and they could really understand because it was pretty straightforward. He's a dead man who's an Undertaker and he shoots lightning.
Yeah. And they didn't beat him for a year.
Right.
Kept him strong.
And then you've got, Bray Wyatt doing the Fiend and Aleister Black being, this Aleister Crowley type killer, but they never let them build to become anything significant.
Yeah, they've always bottled it at that point.
Yeah. And this, I'm gonna be honest, the Fiend character felt overly complicated to me as a wrestling fan. Like I felt like he could have been really, really cool. I would have rather have seen him be something along the lines of a one-off pop-up character every now and then where he comes in, he scares somebody, kind of like the Boogeyman.
Yeah.
All right, like the Boogeyman was a good character. He was funny. He popped in and out. He wasn't overly exposed. It didn't kill him, but he was used more of that aspect. And honestly, when I first saw the feed, I thought they were going to use him.
Yeah.
Because that's the same vibe I got from the Fiend, was that Boogeyman character. Because that's the thing about the Undertaker was he was that mystical character, but still there was a sense of realism to him in the sense, rather than the over the top mystical whatever, which Bray Wyatt did, and whatever they're doing with Aleister Black. So I think it's harder to understand. I think really when it comes to those types of characters, the people who are doing them need to do the KISS method. Just keep it simple. That's all you got to do, is just keep it simple. Stick to that one thing, highlight that one thing, focus on that one thing, and then from there have the character that you know how to use them to build them up to be that devastating character that you want. And that's going to be really the big thing about it for the end of it. So, I don't know. I'm one of those people who, but I never got the Fiend character, and like I said, I saw him from a different perspective. Of more of the Boogeyman type character, which I like the Boogeyman character. I thought he was fun. I thought they used him well, and didn't really overexpose him, and just used him in a bunch of really fun things. And I love the ones where he would, they would put him in like the WWE office and freak people out. That was always so great. He'd pop up from like behind the secretary's desk, and the people are
like, oh shit!
Just walk into the office of the performance center or whatever, and he's just getting these people. I love that. But that was the
quality
whole point of the character. It was quality. That was fun stuff, and have some fun with it. And so, it's once again, we talked about it last week and talked about it again. There's been last week and this week was some good stuff with him. I'm just concerned with WWE if they know what to do with him as a character and a performer. They haven't shown yet that they know how to do it. Maybe this will turn around. There's talk that Jason Jordan's now part of head of creative. So maybe there's something there. We have noticed changes in the last couple of weeks of SmackDown. And I'm saying for the positive. Those changes in the last couple of weeks have been for the positive for the most part. So maybe there's someone like that involved now who understands it a little better and is going to drive that. I don't know, but we just have to wait and see.
Speaking of people who may understand that, in the chat, Promoter of the Year, Tony Khan. Greetings to you, sir. Yeah. Jaguars #1 in the overall draft. AEW ratings are through the roof. Life is good. Good to know. I'm glad you're happy. I'm glad for that. So, always nice to see the celebrities out and about on the Smack Attack. The big wigs come to see us. That's why I'm money. But yeah, it was a good little promo. It was I'm still excited to see what he can do and what he can bring to the table. He's got a lot about him. It's about time we did something with him. No sitting in cupboards waiting for people to knock. None of this one-eye nonsense. I thought it could have had something to jump off of that one-eye thing, but then it crashed and burned a little bit. So hopefully we can get something. SmackDown's been the realm of creativity so far, and it's definitely something we've not touched on. It's the A show of WWE right now. There's Roy ain't touching that with. He ain't getting near it. Mm-mm. So I'm glad we're doing this one and not the Wednesday locker room. Sorry, fellas.
Yeah.
We'll move on.
Yeah.
We're a bit pressed for time this evening, but we'll move on. Big E is saying he wants his baby back. He's coming back for that IC title. Nice little promo from him. Then the New Day decide to chip in on the Daniel Bryan matter. They're not even on SmackDown. They're just like, fuck it. We'll just get them on anyway. You could be talking about Big E, but now we'll talk about the New Day. The Xavier Woods picks Bryan. Kingston picks Reigns. I don't know if that's because Kingston's still a bit angry at Bryan for how he was before WrestleMania a couple of years ago, but hey ho.
Maybe.
And then Intercontinental title match, Apollo Crews versus Big E. Pretty big, physical, big meaty men slapping meat kind of match. I liked it.
Which it was good, but you knew
it was coming.
Let's be honest. We knew what was coming. Yeah. We knew what was coming at the end. We knew Dabble Kato was going to step in. I can't call him Commander Aziz. I can't. I don't know. Which, hey, by the way, I don't know if you saw on Facebook, there's an article, talking about how people in Nigeria, they like the Apollo Crews character, but they don't like his accent.
Oh yeah, I saw this.
And then I said, "Hey, James McIver, didn't somebody say something about that?"
I saw that. You were like tweeting me. I was like, come on. Then I'm in the wrong then, clearly.
No, but like it was, but still, it's. I like the idea of the character. The execution has been gone wrong, but you knew that was coming because that's the whole purpose of having Dabo Keita there. And then of course at the end you have. I mean, let's be honest. It was a good match.
Yeah.
It was a good match that ended, and I would have preferred it that they got out of the ring and they were just fighting up the ramp and just kept going. More of that aspect. But I understand you have Dabo Keita there.
Yeah.
So he interferes and ends the match, and and then of course Kevin Owens comes in and he wants a piece of Dabo Keita.
Doesn't go well. Doesn't end well for him because Sami Zayn just morphs out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Lovely haluva kick for him.
He's the master of that. Like Sami Zayn is the master of popping up out of nowhere,
putting you in the face,
the kick out of.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, just so.
How much trust do you have to have in someone like that, where he'll just kick you right in the face without any issue?
Well,
it's like bam, sound.
That's just knowing a guy, though. I mean, those two guys know each other for so long. Well, we saw Kevin was going to get the Nigerian nail. Big E steps in, so those two go after Dabo Keita for a little bit, and then that's when Sami Zayn pops in with the boot to the face, to the haluva kick.
Takes a bit of,
and then he's like, and it was interesting because he starts ordering Dabo Keita around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do anything at first. He's like, pick up Pete, I'll kick him, bring him up. He's like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean pick him up? Like, why am I picking him up? Until like Apollo came in and says, pick him up.
Right. Because Apollo's the boss, really.
It's like,
and then we see at the end, Sammy's holding the title. And
he takes a good look at that title as well, which I loved. I was like, oh.
He's like, oh, wait, no, I'm friends. See, look, here, I'm here. Cool. And then he still gets the Nigerian nail at the end.
I know. Brutal.
Somebody's gets it. So neither of the baby faces got the Nigerian nail.
Yeah.
But Sami Zayn is the one getting it who, quote unquote, helps Apollo and Commander Aziz.
Keep your friends close, your enemies closer.
Yeah. So it makes the Intercontinental titles seem a little bit more intriguing because it's like, okay, well, where does Sammy fall in this aspect of it? He's the wild card running around versus now you have Kevin Owens involved and you have Big E involved.
Yeah.
So to me, it's predictable, but at the same time too, I kind of enjoy the smash because it gives it a little bit more, where are we going with this kind of thing, which I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what that happens and looks like. So, there's that aspect of it. And then, good Lord, can we talk about Paul Heyman for a minute and how he the GOAT. He is the GOAT. This promo,
he's a
my
god.
Lord,
he's a god among men.
Was just, I mean, he using yes and everything. Just
it's good. Present this award to Paul Heyman. There you go. Congratulations, my souvenir mock Oscar here. Congratulations, Paul Heyman. This is coming to you via FedEx or some ways and means. You just you come along anytime and you can pick this up. Congratulations, you won the award today.
Yeah, just God Lord, just I mean, and and that's the thing. He's just building Daniel. Yes, and all of his accomplishments, everything. But at the end, it's like, will Roman lose to him? No, and no. I mean, just and still tying all of that into Daniel Bryan's career. Bryan for a while was doing the no movement and saying no, and and just tying that all into his client Roman Reigns. Being the head of the table and getting everything. Good Lord, I mean, if you have not watched wrestling and you cannot appreciate Paul Heyman, we cannot be friends. I'm serious.
I agree.
I mean, he is easily one of the highlights of SmackDown if he's going to get a microphone. Yeah. Easily, he's going to do no wrong. He's going to be sharp. He's going to be tight. He's going to know what he's doing, and he's going to bring something good every single time. Yeah. The dude is just great. They're just so good. And I mean, I love that's what kind of we did. Can't forget about the Miz. The Miz did get his prediction
on set.
Yeah,
said no one can beat Roman Reigns. Not even close. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Zourdo as well accepted the challenge and said Daniel Bryan. Fair is.
Yeah.
But no, Paul Heyman was just outstanding. Like
so
he
good.
did more for this SmackDown than anyone would really realize at the time. All these. I really like these like pick'em moments where everyone's making the predictions, and then Paul Heyman, boom! You're watching this main event. That's it. Questions. Yeah. There's no question anymore. You're watching it because he's a top salesman. I mean,
he sold it.
It's amazing what he can do, and it's like, man, if only your salesmanship was good when you're running ECW. Fuck, can you imagine where you'd be? Champion effort. I mean, it's true. Yeah. Like he talked the talk, but then like the money was shit. But whatever. But no, I thought that was absolutely brilliant. There's no one that sells a match better. Like some of the biggest promos for matches, and Paul Heyman does it. Like one of my favorite promos. It doesn't get said enough. Was the Survivor? Was it Survivor Series 1? Yeah. Was it Survivor Series 1 where he was like, "In Dabadis Padre, ECE"? He was speaking in Latin.
Oh, yeah.
Just to get the point across how big a match this was. And I think it was the same night where he was he got like carte blanche to just rip into Vince. Like, talking from the heart. It's like, I'm going to fucking destroy you. Like, I think that's what he says. Like, I'm going to fucking destroy you. Have a good show, guys. Have a good show. Out we go. And he just ripped in. He's just something magical about what he does. And I feel like I need to spend more time studying him. Like for me, I as an actor, I love just watching great performances. And I've always been interested in like learning to be a manager, like a pro wrestler manager. Like around about because I'm more comedic, so I'd like the likes of Bobby the Brain Heenan and Paul Heyman to a degree. So these are people I can watch for hours and just like pick their promos apart and just be like, man, these are just genius, just amazing how you can do. And for me, Bobby the Brain's the greatest of all time because he had like, you knew when he was serious and when it was like big promotional time, but he could always just be so stupid as well. Like have these really daft moments, like his skits with Gorilla Monsoon when he's on commentary, he was just hilarious, and the comic timing was there. And Paul Heyman had that when he did commentary in 2001 as well. Like I just love that stuff.
Right.
And it's great when you can kind of talk about Paul Heyman and Bobby the Brain in the same breath of kind of the levels of promos and how big a deal. We'll look back in this in years to come and just think, man, we had it really good with Paul Heyman. I mean, who's going to be there after Paul Heyman? Bobby the Brain and Paul Heyman. Who we're going to get next? I'm excited, but I don't know who. Maybe me. Someone hire me for a show. I'll have a go.
There you go.
But let's get into the main event. If you're in the chat right now, if you talk to us, give us your thoughts about the main event. What do you think? Did you enjoy it? Have a great time? What a match. What a match. I mean, I said this last week. This could have made... you made a really good case why it wasn't going to be an event of pay-per-view. And you know what? I kind of agree with you now. Although this match was pay-per-view worthy. I think it was pay-per-view worthy, this match. And it was absolutely fantastic. Daniel Bryan has just got something about him when he acts. You can see he's fighting for something. Like he's really he needs to just win. That must-win feeling off him was brilliant. Taking every chance in the book he could get there. And Roman Reigns just was the final boss. He was just final boss. Oh, actually, before we get to the match, the new theme music. What do you think?
Yeah. I
kind of dug it. I kind of like it as well because that's it. That's the Shield dead. It's gone.
Yeah.
The last remnants of the Shield have gone. This is the Roman Reigns. And this is for me when it dawned on me. It's like Roman Reigns is a heel for life now.
Right.
I don't think they'll ever turn him back. I think this is the moment where they were like, we're good with this. We can leave him as a heel for life, and it works. And I'm absolutely for it because he does it so well.
Yeah.
And you cannot fault him in that. That's it's a big decision to make, but I think the pieces of the puzzle are there where it has to be he's a heel for good. And life as well. That music was proper swagger music as well. It's like it just added to that facade, like the bad man, the final boss of SmackDown. It's like now I'm like even more convinced he's going to make it to Mania as champ because it's like he's just they're adding layers as we go, and it's like I feel like we're hurting him a bit if he loses the title now. Mm-hmm. We want this mega match at WrestleMania next year when I've got a full capacity crowd, big match coming on. Yeah, as main event. He's guaranteed him. If they just keep it steady, they've guaranteed the main event with him again next year. If they fuck it, then we're having to trust Raw, but I don't think we can. So Roman Reigns just got to keep it smooth, keep it ticking. Anyway, good match, very good match.
Yeah,
it
really was. I enjoyed it. And the thing about it was there were moments that let's be honest, we probably figured that Daniel Bryan was going to lose. But there were moments where it seemed very viable that, holy cow, Daniel Bryan could win this.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I really enjoyed about this is they gave it time.
Oh yeah.
They let it breathe. Like they say, when you have a good wine, you open it and you let it breathe. And they did that. They really just kind of went tit for tat. They did some incredible moves. Power bomb off the top apron and Hurricane Ranas and, just the different locks and holds and submissions and, Daniel Bryan working the arm so he can't get the guillotine on and, or the Superman punch. There it goes for Superman punch.
Just
kicks him in
little
the shoulder
things,
instead. It's just the little things that he does that makes it believable that you're like, okay, well, I can see why he does this, and putting Roman Reigns in the yes lock twice, and the second time Roman Reigns just having the strength, the power out of it, and just the different things that he can do. It was so good. It was for Daniel Bryan. If you watch it from Daniel Bryan's perspective, it was a thinking man's match. It was okay. I know he's stronger than me. I know he's faster than me, but I'm technically a lot more sound than him. So how can I get him into situations? My advantage.
It definitely felt it definitely felt like a Daniel Bryan match. Like they gave him the reins, and like you're going away for a while. You do the match. You have the match you want, and just put the layers in you want. You've got the time. You just go out there and have a great match. Because this, for me, I thought it was better than their pay-per-view match at Fastlane.
Yeah, I agree.
By absolutely far. And it was like
this was their best match.
Yeah, it was a nice swan song to go off on. Even like at the end, the finish, when not at the finish, but like when Reigns hit the spear and it looked like, oh, that's it, game over. And he just gets his shoulder up just that little bit. And it's that little bit of extra hope. And it made you believe a little bit. And then that guillotine. Mm-hmm. I love the sweep with the guillotine because he gets it. And Daniel Bryan just isn't going to let him have it. And he just you can't see my leg. It's great radio. But like, he just Reigns just gets his leg, goes, whoop, just nudges the back of his knee where it just makes you go limp. And that was it. And he goes. He's locked in. Just that nice little touch.
On the left arm, because the right arm has been beaten and bruised. Because we see he tried to use the guillotine on the right arm, but because Daniel Bryan's worked it over, he's able to get out because he can't do the pressure. So he switches over to the left and locks it in. And Daniel doesn't tap. He passes out. Which again, just he goes out not tapping, so he looks strong doing it.
He goes out swinging.
And I mean, now this just means he can't be on SmackDown. This doesn't mean he can't be on Raw. Doesn't mean he can't be on NXT or anywhere else. It just means he can't be on SmackDown anymore.
But you would think this was because there was chat about him taking the break anyway.
Yeah,
but he could. Yeah, you're right. He could come back on Raw or NXT.
Yeah, I mean, so like if he takes a month off and he comes back, he can come back to Raw if he wanted to. And I mean, I think that would be.
Would you want to? I mean, you look at Raw right now.
Yeah, I know. But could they also use someone like him on Raw?
Probably more than we will ever appreciate. To be perfectly honest with you.
So I mean, to me, it's a. People are like talking about the end of his career. I'm just like, he can show up on Raw next week if he wanted to. He just can't be on SmackDown. And let's be honest, that's until for however long Roman Reigns is champ.
Yeah.
So if Roman Reigns loses to Cesaro at Backlash, then guess who's back? Daniel Bryan. Yeah. So, but I liked it though. They used it to build stakes, and I understand what they were doing with it. Logically, I'm thinking he could show up on SmackDown. He could show up on NXT. He could show up on any other brand, just not SmackDown. and in theory, he could show up at Backlash. It's not a SmackDown show.
Yeah.
It's a pay-per-view. So, I mean,
there's ways around
Roman
it.
Reigns is going to have it. Yeah, there's ways around it. So, I guess I enjoyed the fact that because we don't normally see stuff like this on SmackDown. So it was good. It was creative. It was something different. And then, of course, at the end, we see, he's wanting to continue to beat on Daniel Bryan some more.
See,
Cesaro shows up.
I didn't like this bit. I thought we just...
See, I did.
I didn't mind. It was just I thought it was just too much. I think the heat was already there. You know what I mean? Like, this is that's the big fish that Daniel Bryan's gone. That's a great closing scene, like Roman Reigns standing over Daniel Bryan with the title, like he's done, he's out of here. I just think this is like a little bit extra. This is just like kicking him when he's down, sort of stuff.
See, the way I see this is the way to continue to build Cesaro.
Yeah.
So because they're going to go do a concerto on Daniel Bryan, and who comes to save the day? Cesaro, and gives some incredible European uppercuts and just really made it look like he stood toe to toe to Roman and made it look like he belonged there.
Yeah.
It made him look legitimate, and the fact that Jey Uso had to step in, and then they had to tie him to the ropes and numbers advantage, and then Roman does give the concerto because let's be honest, for Roman, this has been Daniel Bryan's been that cockroach, that bug, that thing that's always just been sticking around and kind of bugging him. And
that's about the way now.
Did insult him and his family, and this to me, I equated it to if you're taking the organized mafia thing, is you come after my family, I'm coming after you, kind of thing, based off of last week with the swinging and mocking him. Oh, hey, you're not coming out. Why are you not coming out? Kind of thing. This is that idea of the same thing of, all right, well, you're going to come after me and my family. I'm going to come at you harder, and I'm going to end your career with this concerto. Yeah, this is how we're even, as I'm putting you out of wrestling, kind of thing. When we know that's not even, but that's just the message being sent. And of course, then you tie Cesaro up in the ropes to make him watch because you're helpless, and if you continue to do this, you're going to be next, kind of thing. So it's that message he's sending that he is that final boss, that he is the man, he is in control. So I liked it from that aspect, from the character they're trying to tell of who Roman Reigns is at the head of the table. He dictates things on SmackDown and making it happen. And this is his will, so what he says goes.
Yeah.
So that's the way I looked at it, from the character, from the way that they portraying him for this whole time. So when I see this, I understand what they're doing, especially when you look at it from an American Mafia type setup. That makes the most sense of why they went this route. At least I thought so anyway.
Well, you've sold me. You sold me on that. Because I was like, that's just extra steps. But yeah, I get it. I totally get it. It's like the consequences of what you've done, you have to be. And I like the whole, to be fair, I like the visual where they tie up Cesaro and they make him watch as they hit the concerto. It's like, nah, you got to watch this, mate. Tough shit. And I was like, it was a great visual that they put there. So I will give them that. It was just a great SmackDown. It was just a good show. I was like, we've been waiting for something like this.
It was a good one. This is, and I mean, I know we talked about it beforehand before we recorded, but of all the SmackDowns that we've watched since starting together, this has been the best one I think I've seen.
You think it was because it was like all roads pointed to that main event? It wasn't like this way, that way. Like there was a clear vision of what they wanted to do in this show. And
I think so, and with the build-up, with the predictions, but then Michael Cole made it feel special because he called it Night of Champions, where hey, we have the women's tag teams are in a match. We have the women's tag, the women's champion and the men's tag teams in a match. We have an Intercontinental Championship match. We have the Universal Championship match tonight. So in a way, it was a Night of Champions where every champion was represented on the show,
which is great.
So that made it a big deal too. Because now all of a sudden everybody who holds a belt is on the show and they're in a match.
Yeah.
And it makes it more must-see TV because, once again, Friday night, you never know what's going to happen. Even though the first two matches, the belts weren't on the line, but still, it made it to be like, okay, well, this could be intriguing. What if Bayley does pin Bianca? What if the Street Profits pin the Dirty Dogs? What if Tamina and whatever? It just goes back to those things of what if, and we're building story from this point because your champions are involved.
Yeah.
And so what if something happens and how do we build from there? And then, of course, you've got the Intercontinental with the title being on the line. We knew it was going to switch because, it would have been pretty ballsy to switch it on a random Friday night SmackDown 2 weeks before or however many weeks before Backlash. I don't remember how long it is. And then, after just a couple weeks from WrestleMania. So
this is the other thing I might have to ask you then is that, we've had, it's almost like WrestleMania was a distraction for SmackDown because the shows we've had post WrestleMania have been far and away better than the SmackDowns before WrestleMania, which is always weird because you always expect the better SmackDowns and Raws to be just before WrestleMania because they're trying to build up the card. But this one, I don't know if it's just SmackDown now. It's like, right, clean slate, start again, move on. It's like they've got a clear vision and idea and identity to the show where like Raw's still scrambling to get something. So it makes you think there must be two different creative teams behind this.
It's got to be.
Has to be.
It's got to be.
But I think it's been, I think it's been fantastic TV all around. Past few weeks have been easy watching.
Yeah.
Easy watching.
Last two weeks post WrestleMania have been easily some of the best TV we've seen from WWE on a wrestling show. And I think once again it helps. It's only a 2-hour show. I think that really, really helps. The only other show that I feel is just really good and really strong is New Japan Strong. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen New Japan Strong
I've not had a chance. I've not really checked any of it out yet.
But so and it runs Friday night after SmackDown. They're super smart on it. So you can go to Roku or New Japan World, and they started at 9 o'clock right after SmackDown's done. And I'm telling you, it's a sharp hour of wrestling. And there's some good matches on there. They've got some good stuff. Filthy Tom Lawler won the New Japan Strong title. They're showcasing some really good young talent. Texas's own Barrett Brown. Shout out to my man Barrett Brown, 50 caliber Barrett Brown, also a friend of Jackson Stone. He's on there, and some other talents that are local to the United States scene that maybe you've never heard of. But then you've got guys like Brody King. You've got other standouts that are showing up there. I think they're talking about Moxley and Yuji Nagata are going to be on a Dynamite. AEW
they're having the US title match on Dynamite.
Yeah, because there was talk about it maybe being on Strong, but I guess they were able to get it on Dynamite. So, but still, you've got some good stuff on Strong, and it's an hour, and they're sharp and they're tight. And the only thing it needs is they need to start implementing crowds. They need to start building those crowds in because other than that, man, it's a tight show. It's really good. It's an hour.
Yeah.
When you have those time constraints like that, like a 2-hour show, and you need to get your shit in and out, I think it makes for a really good show because you got to be tight and on what you're doing and making sure you're keeping track of what you're doing. And it feels like this is what they've just been refocused since WrestleMania. We know where we're going. We need to know where we're going and how we're going to get there. And let's focus on that. Let's just tell good stories. That's what we have. We got to tell good stories because let's be honest, SmackDown is the A show. You're on Fox on Friday nights. I did like that kind of throwback retro commercial for SmackDown next week. I don't know if you saw that one or not. It has like it was like a 1980s retro commercial for
SmackDown, because it's like throwback SmackDown, isn't it?
Yeah. So I like that. I thought it was good. But at the end of the day, good shows. The post WrestleMania have been great, and I really like where they're going with a lot of the stuff that they're doing. It makes sense, and they're telling a good story, and I think that's what you and I have been asking for since we started this thing, is just tell a good story that makes sense. Don't get crazy with it. Don't get stupid. And it sounds like they're listening and they're doing that. They're starting to tell some good stories that make sense. Absolutely.
Get your comments in before we close off. We're only going to be here for another few minutes and then we'll be dashing off. But it's a fantastic SmackDown. Should we jump into the mail sack quickly?
Let's please unload.
We have to do that every weekend. Unload your sack. Mm-hmm. It's good and it's healthy for you. Okay. Rob, UTT Rob, back at it again. More of a challenge in the question this time. Okay. If you each had to draft a 5-man Survivor Series team from the current SmackDown roster, taking alternative turns to pick, Who would you draft? So I'm gonna get my notepad out here. I'm gonna get my
Oh.
notepad out.
All right. So how are we determining who goes first? Age before beauty? I mean, are we doing age before beauty? Or
how can we do it? We can't really Rochambeau over Skype. You can't even see me, so I could lie.
Yeah.
It's like, actually, it's scissors.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll be a gentleman. I'll let you go first. I'll tell you what. I'm going to write out the rosters while we go, so I can promote this a bit here. We can get some.
Now, are we saying just men, or is this like anybody on the entire roster? So men, women.
Well, I think me and Joe did something similar. We did. I think we did 4 guys and a woman. That's what we done.
Okay, 4 guys and a woman. Okay.
And you can pick. You can.
All right. Do you want to see same rules?
Yeah, same rules. I'll let you have the first pick. And are we including champions in this?
I don't see why we.
Crucial.
I would say yes, but that would make it top heavy.
It would.
So, but that would cut what? Belair, Reigns, the Dirty Dogs, and Apollo Crews. So,
are you willing? Roll the dice.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, okay. Let's say no chance.
Oh, right. Thank God. That makes my job easier. I was like, "Fuck, you're gonna pick Roman Reigns on the off, and I'm screwed."
Yeah. Well, yeah. My number 1 was going to be Reigns, and my number 2 was
Saw it coming.
Belair.
Saw it coming. I was just like, "Not make myself safe now. Save myself."
Yeah. All right. So we need 4 women,
4 men and a woman.
4 guys and 1 woman. Okay. All right. So number 1 pick for me is going to be Big E.
Good shout. Good shout. Well, Big E. I'm going to go with the man of the moment right now. I'm going to go with Cesaro.
Oh. Good call. Now, so technically, Daniel Bryan is not.
He's as of today is gone. He's banned. Right.
Okay. So just want to make sure that we're clear that because I don't need to pick somebody and you go Daniel Bryan. I'm like, So let's see. I am going to have to go. I'm going to go Montez Ford.
I see. You've missed a trick there. You may why not just take both the Street Profits?
Well, I mean, we said one. I assume one at a time. I'm not going to do, unless of the 2, Montez Ford has the higher for me right now. He has the higher singles, run rate than he does, and you're working with 5 people in a match. So
bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if this pays off.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if you're going to go Montez Ford, I'm just going to do a wee bit of sniping then. I'm going to go with one of the greatest women's champions of the current era, Bayley. That's going to be my second pick. I'm going in very strong.
All right, you're taking Bayley.
I'm going in strong here.
Getting that woman pick early. All right, okay. That just lets me go down the list and then save mine for last. Really. So, all right. Let's see. Number 3 for me. I am going to go with the great Rey Mysterio.
Good shout. All right. I'm stuck between 2. Both as good as each other. I'm going to go with Sami Zayn.
Oh.
I'm liking this wee crew I've got coming together. Like,
yeah. Now, this is where, because I'm on my 4th man, and boy, I've got 2 that I really, really, really. I'm like, oh boy, both would be great. Both would be a lot of fun.
Am I sensing a sniping opportunity here? Douche, man.
Yeah. I'm trying to.
It's a tricky one when you've got like the selections out there. I mean, like.
Yeah. All right. My heart wants me to go another direction, but my head says go KO.
Kevin Owens.
KO. Yeah. It was gonna be, or I was thinking Shinsuke. That was my other one.
Well, so. I'm gonna go Shinsuke.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Shinsuke Nakamura is my fourth. You got one more pick. What are you gonna go for?
I got my lady. I'm gonna talk. I think the lady I'm gonna go with has been showcasing those boobies like nobody else. I'm gonna go Natalya.
Okay, good shout.
Classic trained women's champ. Just solid and everything, and plus get to see some boobies. Yeah. So
I've got one more pick.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the pick that will guarantee my team victory. I'm talking guarantees victory. Who's someone who's not been stopped? Who's someone that no one will be able to figure out by this point? Who is someone that has dominated so far since he's come to SmackDown? Commander Aziz. Boom. Are you
kidding me?
Come on, no one's touching him. No one's touching Commander Aziz. That is an absolute who's who roster. And I'm bringing in some new blood who will not lose. Or do you think he'll be like the big guy that gets Braun Strowman, just gets thrown over the top rope and just counted out?
Right.
I'm liking
that's the thing. My 5 people will go after him first and then get him knocked out real quick. So,
but I've got some big hitters to come in that. So if you're just joining us, if you want to hear our rosters, we were decided to pick our Survivor Series teams off the SmackDown squads. John has went for Big E, Montez Ford, Rey Mysterio, Kevin Owens, and Natalya. Can't get over that you broke up the fucking Street Profits for this. Unbelievable. Shocking. Absolutely shocking.
Hey, I'm a wild card, baby.
Yeah. And then on my side, the side that will win this battle.
Bullshit.
Cesaro, Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, Commander Aziz. Think about it. And Bayley. Boosh. That's a strong victory right there. That's a strong
it's
win.
Not a strong victory. I think you got more than you think.
I'm telling you, man, that is a roster. That's a team and a half. I mean, if you're watching this, get your comments in, whether you're watching it live, whether you're watching it after the fact. Let us know who's got the better team. If you're on Twitter, leave us a tweet at SmackAttackHMG. Right, or if you're on the Hammy Media Group discussion group on Facebook, Hammy Media discussion group on Facebook, find us on there. Send us an email, smackattack@hammymedia@gmail.com. It's all down at the bottom as well. Get in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear when we open up the mail sack. Great questions like that. We talk about absolutely anything. Wrestling, TV. We've talked about food. We've talked about the weather. We've talked about football. We've talked the lot. We love it. We love just talking shite with you. It's always a pleasure.
Women's pay equality in sports.
Yeah.
I mean, we did talk about that today. So
we talked about politics as well. Now and again, we've got into that. Not the most.
And this is how Commander Aziz will go out in my mind. KO will give him a stunner, and he'll fall to the ropes, and Rey Mysterio will 619 him, and then when he falls over, Montez Ford will do a frog splash from the heavens, and then for the 1, 2, 3, and Commander Aziz is done.
Fantasy booking of a 10-year-old. That's what that is.
Probably for the most part. But,
I'm just seeing him with this thumb just going bam, then bam, then bam. That's where I'm at.
With a thumb. It's
unstoppable. But yeah, that's the way to go. I think that's us. I think that's all we've got to talk about. It's a quick show. Sorry about that, guys. If you like our long 2-hour shows, we've just got. It's just the way it is. Prom man has got to get suited and booted to chaperone the prom.
Right. I got an appointment to get my beard taken care of, and you have had your first full week of work in, right?
Oh, mate, it's been great. I'm shattered, but it's amazing. It's been a long 4 months. Like the only thing I've had for 4 months is this. Like, or doing the odd editing job here and there, just like putting stuff together. I keep meaning to do my voice acting portfolio, but then stuff comes up and I don't do it. I should really just put my foot down and just get it done. But yeah, so it's been nice to get back to work after 4 months. some of the busiest days I've had in ages. It's just been constant, non-stop. But it's been good. The locals are coming out and just telling us that we've been missed. They're happy to see us again. It's been great for everybody. It's been great for us because we're back working. We're being productive again. We're making money again. Oh man, having money in my bank account again. It's oh man, I missed that. And
That's
then
not from the government.
It was just dwindling as it went on. And everyone out and about is just like, I've been waiting for 3 months for you. It's so great to see you. It's like, yes, it's great to be back. So everyone's been happy. Everyone's had a great time this week. Long may it continue. I hope I never have to go through this again. I was joking with people at the beginning. Well, I say at the beginning, but like as this went on, if you asked me when I was 17, coming out of high school, it's like, mate, there's going to be a period in your life where you're going to be sitting at home and all you'll be able to do is play video games, go for a walk. You're not going to work. You'll get paid for it a little bit. And at 17, I'd be like, hell yeah, amazing. Cut forward to 30-year-old me, and I can't imagine anything more miserable, for lack of a better word. It's like, great, housework's done. What did I do? Watch TV, play games.
Yeah.
Then what? I go for a walk. And then that's it. The cycle continues. So it's nice to have a bit of variety in my day. We're going out somewhere tomorrow.
Yeah.
We don't know where.
Oh.
I've been told to be ready for 10 o'clock tomorrow and be dressed up smart casual. And that's all I know. That's all I know. So I'm looking forward to wherever that's going to be. That's going to be a fun day. Especially now things are open, because like hospitality's open up again, so you can go into places for food. Beer gardens are open, so you can drink in beer gardens. It's a lovely time. I can't wait for my first. I really am excited for my first pint, like proper ice cold glass from the tap. Oh,
and Texas has been open for 6 months doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
don't make me jealous.
Yeah.
But honestly, that first drop of lager is going to bring a tear to my eye when it hits me. Like yes.
Yeah. That's why I'm wearing my New Japan Texas shirt today.
Hell yeah.
Say hell yeah, Texas. So, because we've been doing that for, it's very funny too, because I live 20 minutes from Fort Worth, which is more of a major metropolitan area, Fort Worth, Dallas area.
Yeah.
And I live 20 minutes outside. My girlfriend, she lives closer to Fort Worth, and so we went somewhere the other day in Fort Worth, and we had to wear a mask. And then later we were doing something here in my town, and like nobody wears masks anymore because it's like,
free.
Corona is just. Yeah, well, I mean, part of it is too, in our county, I think we have less than 10 cases.
That's good.
Total right now. Yeah, but our county, I think we have like 140,000 people in our entire county, so compared to Fort Worth, where the city has that plus Tarrant County and everything like that. So, but based off of that, our mask rules got laxed before everybody else's because it was by a per capita basis.
Yeah.
And so once you got below so many, because I think our number of cases that we had, total for the entire county was in like about 1,000 to 2,000 people.
Yeah.
And for 140,000 people, it's not bad at all. And so, people are now, some people still wear masks, because some of the businesses require them. And so, it's not that nobody's disrespectful about it. It's just, for a lot of the businesses, especially small businesses and restaurants and things like that, they were ready to open as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And so they said, if you want to wear a mask, great. If you don't, we don't care. We just want you to come and spend money. And, but where we're seeing the problem now, in not only here, but throughout Texas and in some places, is restaurants aren't able to open all the way. They're only having to do to-go orders. Like the Chili's main, franchise here in town, they have finally been able to open for the first time fully yesterday because they were understaffed because people don't want to work because they're making more on unemployment.
Yeah.
Small businesses who are trying to stay afloat and work and open that are restaurants, they're having trouble getting their people back because they're making more money on unemployment.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to go to work, and then that's the big issue right now is that businesses want to open, but they can't do everything that they want to do because people are staying home because they'd rather collect unemployment than, what they could make working. And it's like, guys, this is going to stop. You need to start working now because, when it stops, all of a sudden the job market's going to get flooded again, and you might not have the job that you thought you were going to have.
Yeah.
Or somebody's going to take your job, and then you're not going to have a job to go back to. So, it's to me, it's the short-sightedness of people sometimes, where they don't think about, oh, hey, yeah, by the way, we probably should go back to work now, because those jobs might not be there if I wait any longer.
That's it. Like that was it. It was like the tipping point. So I think that's why everyone's so happy to go back to work now. It's like it has to happen. Otherwise, we're not going to be literally able to afford to open our doors and pay people and provide services. So it's like, as I say, this week's been one of the busiest weeks we've had since I've started working at my work, and that's great for us. I mean, we're still trying to catch up 4 months worth of work. 4 months worth of business that we've missed out on. So it could be like this for a long time. Some places aren't as lucky enough for that there. So it's really important that we highlight that. But yeah, I think that's us for today, this evening.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for watching. Again, check out all our friends over at Fighter Fans at Fighter Fans site, fighterfans.com. They've got some the latest vertical in combat sports, boxing, MMA, pro wrestling. They do the works. We are there. They share our shows over on fighterfans.com. They like the product quite a lot, so it's always great to see there. So thank you very much for the help there. Jackson Stone's project, You Are Loved, youarelovedlife.com at You Are Loved Life.
Yeah, I do have a mental health tip from him for this week. Health tip is about nature. Breathing fresh air is one of the best things that we can do for our mental health. I recommend going for a 10-minute walk every day. Allow yourself that time to refresh and move your body. Taking time for ourselves is very important. Put you and your mental health first. I hope you have a fantastic week. Take care. Much love, Jackson Stone. And he says, P.S. Thanks for being here. So, great. It's a great thing. Sometimes when you get frustrated or whatever, just take a walk. Take a 10-minute walk. Get outside, breathe the fresh air, get your body moving, and just enjoy what it can do for you. So take that and apply it however you wish. But I hope that mental health tip helps you this week as people start going back to work or people are dealing with things, they get frustrated. Take maybe a 10-minute walk to just refresh yourself and bring you back to center.
Yeah, and that's great. One more thing, I want to plug something just really quickly that I'm part of a really great project. I lent my voice to this. It's a short film. It's called Trust Me. And this was developed from a theatre and education project that got taken out to high schools around about the country, around about Scotland. It's all about gambling. It's all about the effects, the long-term and social, emotional, financial effects of gambling and how it can completely just take your life away or things like that. It's not really supposed to be like a horror story kind of thing. It's designed to open a discussion and awareness from young people about the effects of what this could do and things that can come about it, how you can approach things in a more healthy manner and what have you. But it's a great thing. I lent my voice to this. It's a really good short film. I'm a virtual bookmaker advertising thing. So I've not actually seen the film properly yet, but I know on the stage show I was like a cartoon bald guy. You look at me like this, and it's like wouldn't match, but who knows? Kids wouldn't know that, so who cares?
So are you supposed to be me, is what you're saying?
Oh, you know what? Aye. But shaven. If you took the beard away, it's a bit like that. It was freaky.
Oh,
but I'm a part of that, and you know what? It'd be great if you help them out and just kind of spread the word a little bit. I know it's more designed for Scotland and the education system there, but it's going to be highly accessible to everyone. So it's a conversation we can all have about gambling, and we might have it on this at some point down the line. I might get JB involved in it as well. He's always big, and RBV, because they're great on the sportsbook show. But if you go into Twitter at Trust Me Film 2021, or if you search for it on Facebook, Trust Me Film 2021. If you're friends with me on Facebook, you'll find it me on my page as well. Add it, because they're going to do some sneak peeks of behind the scenes stuff. I think they're going to put out some clips of it as well. And you might hear my voice now and again. I'm in it a couple of times. I'm not in it for the whole thing, just a couple of bits here and there where I've recorded an ad for bookmakers, and it gets, I don't want to give too much away, but it goes from being like an advert to like a bit more psychologically connected to the main character, which is really cool, and it really spreads the message really well. So get involved in that. I've got a great passion for theatre and education, so to see this sort of work, and I've seen lots of projects like it. This is the first time I've seen it go to film, but I've seen and been involved in projects like this where it goes out and it really does help, because it's not a lot of the things that happen in theatre and education, well, not all the time, but a lot of projects, what they like to do is go, don't smoke because, whoa, it's bad. Don't do this.
Right.
It's people don't respond to that. People respond to like proper conversation. And like a story is great, but then you can have the deeper meaning of what's going on and let people make decisions for themselves. You know, that's the great thing about this project and the other ones I've done. It's like, it's not our job to tell you, don't do these things. It's our job to make you aware of these things and be kind of conscious of the consequences and everything like that. It's like making sure you've got all the information before you go ahead with things. It's like that.
Right.
It's a bit like sex. And I did a bun about sex. I'll tell the story one time because it was a great tour I did on in the Borders for 4 years of doing like a play about sexual health and consent. It was brilliant. It was a great laugh. But yeah, so just wanted to plug that.
Well, yeah, something you want to hear about sex is a great laugh.
Yeah.
You never want to hear that. Yeah. I'm just saying, you're probably doing it wrong if that's the case.
Yeah, that's the way to go. But yeah, so we're going to close off here. I think the Smack Attack, I was going to say Smack Attack. I just saw a post about the Impact Attack, but they're going on to Patreon, so hey ho. So if you're on that, go to Patreon right now, listen to the Impact Attack. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for your time. It's been a pleasure talking to you as always. It's been a pleasure talking to you, John, as always. I look forward to seeing you next week.
As always to you, sir. Yes, sir.
We will look forward to seeing you guys, as always. Get in the chat, leave your comments. We will see you all next week for another edition of the Smack Attack. Cheery.